Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing another quick dive into how we can use technology to completely run our business and set everything up in a manner that can make it so simple and focused, yet we're always focusing on how to create these human-driven interactions that endear our top customers to us. Today we're going to look at how to put technology in and automate your entire sales process. Let's come on over here. First and foremost, here's what we're talking about. We're talking about how do we actually build a sales process that really replicates what great field selling has been like for years. This is something I'm particularly obsessed with because I grew up driving revenue for traditional B2B manufacturers, building out their sales, marketing, and distribution arms for their business. And now, as a CMO, I work with a lot of tech company and early stage B2B companies, and I help them build out entire sales process. And where do I fall back on? What are the tricks that we used to use in field selling that are so actionable that can differentiate us today? Because guess what, guys? Nothing ever changes under the sun. At the end of the day, we all purchase like consumers. We all follow the same buying habits and patterns that we did. We've just got different rails or infrastructure today, meaning we deliver it over a different method. So when I think about a traditional sales process, I think about what did I used to do in the field with my field sales reps, with my product managers that really drove our business. And it all comes down to basically this. It's always about that cold call field sales visit. And every time I was in market working with either customers directly or working with one of our agents or distribution partners, I'd always push myself at the end of the day to make one additional sales call. I wanted to see what it was like in market, try to drop in and keep those selling abilities sharp working with customers. And so on this end of the day push, what would be my first step? A lot of what we do in automated outreach and email marketing today is like that first cold call. And what's our main focus? Is it to get the sale? Is it to drive a conversion? No, we don't want that. Our first touch point is really to establish a couple of key things. One, let's get information about the business, who they are, what they are. Two, let's create a leave behind that shows them exactly what we're about. And then three, let's drop our business card. Our business card that tells them how they want to get connected with us in the future. So here we go. We've got a cold call and a visit. We've got a leave behind that tells them a lot about us and what to expect. And then we've got our business card that tells them how to get in contact with us. We know they're still not going to do that. That's just the first visit. So what are we ultimately doing? We're driving that connection. We're building a simple chat message that connects them to us, that gets them positioned with who we are and what we do. And our goal is not to tell them about ourselves, but it's to open them up to start giving them information based off who they know about us now. So what do we want them to do? We want them to talk about our competitors, what they're doing currently in that space. We also want to know who are the people within the business that we could talk to. Who are the champions? Who's the decision maker? Who's the ultimate owner? See if we can get their contacts as well. We can also talk about what trends are going on in their business. A lot of this is what we used to get from the gatekeeper, the front desk, or whoever we were speaking with. You can get a lot of that on these early stage visits. But the key point here is, are we making a sale? No, we're not driving for a sale. We're building our pipeline. We're qualifying and finding out if this is a good fit for our business. So number one, if you're doing outreach, the most important thing is thinking about it not as an acquisition campaign, but ultimately as a qualifier of the customer and a verification that they fit within your ICP or ideal customer profile. So we're asking just basic, simple questions. Our focuses are on getting them involved, opening them up in the conversation. And what we want to start to do is build more and more questions. Ultimately, what's our goal from this? Now, some businesses, especially SaaS and tech companies, can close off of a first call. If you got a simple product, it's like a consumable product back in the day, old school sales reps. What do I mean by that? It's a simple product. It's easy to explain. You can close it with very low interaction. Something like a monthly subscription on a SaaS service product. Another idea of that would be, no offense, guys, but it's building and selling hammers, nuts and bolts. It doesn't need a lot of explanation. Mine does this. It works like this. It's better than competitors. Really simple and easy to sell. But for most sales, what we have to do is we start to build and nurture a relationship. And that's where these come into play. Ultimately, the goal of our outreach sequences is to pull people into warm audiences where we can start an overarching sales conversation that's built on and mapped on what the established sales cycles are within your industry. And if you're doing B2B sales, you know it varies by product and industry, but ultimately you're talking about multiple loops where customers are doing research, they're doing competitive research once they start to figure out what solutions are, looking at who's in the industry, who do they compare to, and they start asking questions, doing interviews, meeting with prospective buyers. At this point, now you've got an intent signal, you're in the game. We're moving people from just these outreach sequences further along down our pipeline into somebody who's in a closer to intent sale. And we start to work on social proofing. Again, these leave behinds have a lot of value. We can start to look at what we're putting out there and how it reflects the value of our products and what we're saying about it in a social post. So nothing that we do in digital marketing is new. And I want you as a business owner to think about that. All we're doing with digital marketing is augmenting what our original sales processes were. And one of the things that you do is when you start thinking about that, then it becomes really easy to start thinking about things in terms of this. What am I showing here? This is an automated sales rep whose job is to qualify prospects, nurture them into a conversation, and then set an appointment between decision makers and the top salespeople within your company. Does that sound familiar? It's nothing too crazy, right? What's the main difference? It's being done over great rails like Lemlist here, tools like Smart Lead and instantly email communication. It's being driven into a qualified call, leveraging landing pages like this, driving people right into a call. Very simple to do, very much the same aligned process that we've always been doing. And from this point, you can move into your traditional business sales process. So if you think about this, when it comes to starting to add in technology like N8N, like agentic workflows, like Clay, Apollo, Seamless AI, and you start to use volume-based outreach tools like Lemlist, Smart Leads, Instantly, all of these tools are the same thing that you're doing today in your business, but it's faster, it's quicker, it's cheaper, and guess what? It's also free of bias, which is a bigger deal than having somebody that's in here really trying to qualify and nurture down to your business. It's a lot simpler to have a process or a system do that, an AI agent, rather than having employees do it, because bias, human bias, categorizes things out that otherwise wouldn't fit in. So now we're giving more opportunity to fit in. So you start to build all of your sales processes as a simple, whether you want to call it a funnel, do you want to call it a sequence, or as I like to call it, it's our business conversation. You lay it out, figure out what it is, and then it's easy. It's easy to put this in a workflow that makes sense. And what it means is you're not doing one giant thing. Instead, we're breaking it down to many different components. And let me just look at this example. So first and foremost, it all starts with a database. Whether you get it as a list from a trade show, whether you pull it from a vendor, or like today, you're pulling it together from a place like Clay, Apollo, Seamless, any of those places, you're starting with the list. What we like to do at Rising Tides is build our own list based off of audience signals. And so we scrape it against the internet. Why do we do it this way? Because it's our list. I don't want to go sell where other people have tread before. I want to walk in that door and make that introduction. So that's what we're doing. We're starting off building a list. We've got an agent that loops the items over, goes contact through contact, and verifies it as a good fit for our business model. What do they do once they're a good fit? Well, then we start to enrich and pull in the data. From there, we can move to the next stage, which is starting end-to-end outreach, whether it's through Smart Lead, so this is email, or we can do it directly through LinkedIn outreach using Lemlist as a tool. So now we're building these multiple workflows, putting them together in the same way that you would bring in an employee, hire them, and ask them to take on certain parts of your business. Does that sound complicated? Not really. And it really isn't either. Sure, there's some technical aspects about this that usually help me put together a team to do it. That's why I built the Rising Tides agency to be execution talent for me, because I can visualize it, but I can't always get it down. But the point is, if you can visualize it, if you understand your sales process, it's not complicated to start adding these into your business. And honestly, it's simple resources like N8N, ChatGPT, and Perplexity that make it really easy for you to go. First and foremost, can you create a prompt, right? If you can build a prompt, then you can start to build these workflows and make it work for your business. So what is a prompt really? I'm going to break this down really simple, and I apologize if it's too simple, but guess what? Sometimes even simple things make the whole process easier for me, because I can actually start to think about things at a level. Instead of going to the end result, I start to break down and think about the steps that take us there. This is a key factor when it comes to building your agents or creating an agentic workflow. Why is it a key factor? Because our job isn't to get to the end results. It's not to do this in a volume-based setting. What it is to take and replicate all of the steps of your business. So you're building a prompt, taking over time. We don't want to lose the value of creating the prompt. So whether it's in GPT as a specific prompt or an agent, or if you're in Perplexity here, building these as a space. So essentially what we're doing in a space is just essentially one prompt that we're using over and over again, that we're building out a simple call out for how it works. So let's look at this one right here. This is the post-call email prompt. And basically I use this to leverage my existing calls with clients or potential clients. And I do a couple of different workflows depending on what type they are to build out the first step of my report, because I'm a data briefing. So all we really need to know to do this is that every single prompt, every step of the workflow process is built off of instructions. And in the same way that we would spend spend the time training our employees on what it is that we do, what makes us valuable, what are the unique things that fit our customer, and also what's the culture of our business. How do we act and how do we behave? That's what we put into a prompt. And guess what? It's not that challenging. And honestly, they get it faster. Unlike traditional employees, which we might have to take 3 to 5 months to really evaluate how fast they're getting it, we can run a volume on these AI prompts and get the results really quick. So ultimately, simple instructions that we're continually working on to improve the results. And then we're running them as part of a workflow, testing it and making sure it's a good fit or not. We run it, test it as a good fit, validate the results, making sure it works. Going back into the prompts here, this is a simple one where we've got just one AI working here, but some of these we have multiple AIs and actual multiple workflows added together. Go back in the prompt, making slight nurture adjustments to it to make sure it fits what we want out of it. So that's not too complicated, right? I mean, ultimately, can you visualize it? Can you jot it down on a piece of paper? If you can do that, and then you think about the humans that are involved in it, you can easily map this process. Most importantly, even though AI, outreach, and everything seems like a major leap forward here, it's the same behavior. And I've found so much success in my career by taking really basic behavior that's worked for so long and updating it on a new system like social, right? A few years ago, it was easy enough to build a brand on social organically, to build an audience and funnel that into a community. Well, what was that really like? That's basically the same thing as working within a tight vertical niche, building a brand through your mailings. Remember we used to do mailings back in the day? Sending it out, being part of something like a trade show and having events at that trade show to foster that sense of community. So nothing is new. Community building, social building, it's all traditional behavior. In that same way, so is putting AI to work within your business. This is a pretty high level overview, but the key point on here is to get you all excited about how we can start to implement this and what we can do. And more importantly, get you to think about the simple steps. I said this earlier. It's not about getting to the end results that really differentiate you and your use of AI within your business. It's about how you make unique adjustments to the prompts of increasingly smaller AI agents that are linked together in a larger workflow that really just follow existing patterns. Knocking on the door of that first cold call. Building a conversation that's focused around emptying yourself and having the customer aligned to your business model. Let them walk into the sales for you. Then pulling everything into your CRM so you've got good process documentation, that you understand the overarching sales cycle. You start to fit them in within your CRM into a pipeline stage model so that you have very good visualization of how many customers are ready to buy today, how many customers are still in the early research stage of it, how many of them are actively in conversation where they're just pulling together opportunities, competitors, and you're actually selling against them, and how many people are so cold that all you need to do is throw content to them and let them know that you exist until they start to pay attention to that content, giving you the intent signal to know it's time to start that sequence, to build that process and set up the call where you as a human get on with them and endear them to your business and the opportunity. So in this way, what we're doing isn't really scary. It's not changing the way that we do business. In fact, it's making better, more impactful, because it's creating more opportunity for you to connect with other humans instead of spending the time growing your business on all the overhead that keeps us away from each other. Anyways, I really appreciate you coming to this channel. We're focusing on growing it this year because we're getting really excited about the things that we're building. And as you can see, we've got a bunch of new agents that are coming out that we really want to talk with. So make sure you come back to the channel. We're moving very soon from doing 1 video a week up to 3 videos a week. You can hold me to that. I want you to hold me to that in the comments. I want to see, where's the next video, Grady? I want to watch a video about this, Grady, because I'm here to build it out for you. I'm getting really excited because every single week we're seeing massive changes in how we're building our business when it comes to using AI within it. And guess what? Old is new again. Where am I taking my most impactful ideas from? It's just from old sales tactics that people forgot because we've moved away from field selling, we've moved away from human connection, and we've been driving it through digital platforms for a while now. Well, guess what? With AI, it's increasingly human. So take advantage of it, put it into your business, and I'll be here to show you how we're doing it. So thanks a lot for joining us today. I hope you had a great time, and make sure you like, subscribe, and make a note. Put it in the comments. What do you want to hear from this? What do you think is impactful? And I'm going to make content for you. That's what we're building here. And honestly, I really appreciate the opportunity. So thanks very much, everybody. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you soon.